The war in Israel has continued now for 2 weeks, and we see that while during the first few days world opinion was in favor of Israel defending itself, as the war continues and the bombing of the Gaza Strip continues, world opinion is beginning to change, as it always does, against the Jewish people and against Israel. And so we, the Jews of the world, have to remain strong and not be influenced by the opinions of the nations of the world. This happened several times in the past during the wars of Israel, and Rabbi Tzvi Yehuda Kook, the Rosh Yeshiva of Merkaz Arav and the son of Rabbi Kook, he gave a public announcement which I'd like to read to you. He said, "We mustn't feel any shame whatsoever over the wars which we fought in the past on the reestablishment of the State of Israel, nor over the hatred which we aroused in the hearts of those who rose up against us to annihilate us." In other words, when we reacted to defend ourselves and defend our God-given land, nations rose up against us to complain, to criticize, to say that we were the criminals of war and not the nations, the Arabs, other people who tried to steal the land from us. He said, we must not feel any shame whatsoever over the means we must use to defend the Jewish people in the land of Israel and to keep the land of Israel under our Jewish sovereignty. Rabbi Kook continues and says, even if we were just fighting for our own survival, even if it was just a war of self-defense and not the wars of Hashem, which we know the enemies of evil are the enemies of God, and the wars that Israel is forced to fight, we are fighting for the honor of God, that evil not triumph over the world. He said, even if we were just defending ourselves, not connected with our mission to raise the honor of God in the world, this too should not cause any shame on our part. Should not cause any shame on our part, for it is not based on any perversion of justice or oppression of other peoples. On the contrary, fighting in our war against our enemies, it is our very existence that brings light to the world, that brings goodness and justice to the world. It's the Jewish people that brought the Torah to the world, justice, the principles of kindness and truth. When we fight our wars to defend our lives, we're also defending our values, our culture, the truths that we have brought to the world since the time of Abraham and Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, King David. This light is so great that the human intellect, which doesn't have a connection to divine revelation, in other words, people who are not connected to the Torah, this is very difficult for them to understand. They cannot grasp the great dimensions of the wars of Israel. But we have to know and be strong in our faith that we are completely justified in crushing our enemies, for we are doing it not only for ourselves, but to make the world a better place. During the war over Yom Kippur that broke out, the Yom Kippur War, on the holy day of Yom Kippur, we were attacked, surprise attack, similar to the attack that we witnessed 2 Shabbases ago on Simchat Torah. There was a professor who wrote and who spoke out in public saying that we shouldn't condemn the Arabs. We should try to understand them because they don't know the greatness that the Jewish people are trying to bring to the world. They haven't learned. Nobody has taught them. They don't know about our historical and divine connection to the land of Israel. We have to try to persuade them. To this, Rav Kook said, there is no question here of explaining these matters to the Gentiles. We do not have to convince them of the rightness of our cause. We have to convince them with tanks. May God save us from the opinions proclaiming we have to judge favorably the murderers who come to slaughter us. May the guardian of Israel protect and save us from the dissemination of such damaging ideas. Chazak ve'amatz, keep strong, stay behind the armies of Israel.